Introducing the new Nintendo Switch 2 system. All together, anytime, anywhere.
Waiting on somebody tune in, man.
Alright, so today was Apple's big software event for 2025.
Boy, no, I'm waiting on somebody to tune in. Really, I ain't waiting on shit.
I was
Fuck.
kind of wondering how this would go because in this landscape of AI, everyone's
Waiting
talking
on
about
that
Gemini
bitch.
and GPT
I
everywhere.
want that.
Where it feels like
I want
Apple
that
is being
bitch.
left behind.
Plies.
They could kind of go one of two ways. They could either double down on Apple Intelligence and just lean right in, like everything's fine, everything's going to plan, or they could shelf some of that stuff but show a whole bunch of other stuff and hope that that's good enough. So now we've seen the keynote and I've gotten to try a lot of these software features and think about them a lot, and they definitely did the second thing, don't get me wrong. There's much more other stuff than AI versus what like Google was doing earlier, but I do think that that other stuff was actually kind of a lot. And so maybe you can leave a comment below if you agree with me, after you subscribe of course. But this is everything you need to know about WWDC 2025. So first of all, they always talk about all of their OSs, all their platforms this year, and they are now all unified in their version number, just to keep it simple. So instead of having iOS 19, iPadOS 19, tvOS 19, macOS 16, watchOS 12, and visionOS 3, they're now just doing version 26 for everything. Kind of the same thing Samsung just did with their phones in 2020, how they matched the year, even though it's a year ahead. Cool, easy. And everything is getting this fresh, glassy coat of paint over everything to be unified as well. So it's more obvious in some places, that I'll show you, and less noticeable in some others, but in general, they're calling this liquid glass. And they're treating basically every window, every dialog box, every icon, every sidebar that they possibly can as like a piece of physical glass that's mostly transparent to the things below it. Even the lock screen clock and some text, some fonts are clear and transparent. So we might as well start here with iOS 26 because this is the biggest one. All of the icons are slightly updated. The lock screen clock is just this big glassy clear time that adapts to the size of what's behind it. Once you unlock the iPhone,
I think I've seen that.
It doesn't look
Let's see what he's talking about.
slightly different, but they also kept showing this clear home screen setup where all of the widgets and icons are all clear. This is a new option, and I don't know about this one. I mean, it is new, and you can do that if you want to, or never turn it on if you don't want to, but I just think it's a little much, and the readability
What
might be
the hell?
like they redesigned the camera.
That was
for the first time in
pointless.
plus.
There was no point in them doing that.
Super simplified to just photo
It has
video
people
buttons,
request that.
and then there's a whole bunch of hidden UI. So you have to swipe to reveal the additional modes.
People request
those
clear
work the way they did before,
apps.
but then also the frames per second and resolution settings
Screen.
are also super hidden. You have to know to hit
Clear
that
home
button
screen.
in order to change to 30 or 60 FPS, which is a really interesting choice there. I mean, especially on an iPhone where you kind of have to assume Apple knows which things people click most of the time. This kind of implies that nobody ever changes a lot of these things. The swipe up to reveal a lot of those settings, most people will never see that. But hey, you're watching this video, so now you know that the live photos setting toggle is there under that swipe. So good for you. There's also a new FaceTime app with a new landing page to quickly hit up your main contacts. And then also the phone app is updated to bring voicemail and missed calls and contacts all into one unified place, kind of like that. And they've also matched or copied, you can say it however you want, matched or copied, but they've matched two of my favorite Pixel features from the dialer, from the phone app, which is call screening and hold for me. Those are the Pixel feature names. So now in iOS 26, there's a feature that can automatically screen unknown numbers, and it'll answer the call for you and then transcribe whatever the person says before trying to ring you and showing you who's calling, which is interesting because the Pixel would let me choose that for every single call manually. But then also the hold assist feature is a no-brainer.
That seems interesting.
For you while you do other things, and when it's time to come back, it rings you again. Both super useful. And there's also a couple iMessage features, like you can do native polls inside of iMessage now. Typing indicators in group chats will show you which person is typing, which is sweet. And you can add pictures as backgrounds for each of your iMessage chats. None of this is groundbreaking or unheard of, but it is nice that they're finally adding it. And then I would say the most AI-focused thing here is translate, and I feel like there's like a storm of like a video idea brewing where I might have to make an entire essay about how this is the year of live translation. It's just happening all at once now. But yeah, in short, Apple added live translation to FaceTime, to messages, and the phone app, and it works
That's
basically as you'd
crazy.
expect with the
Now
onboard
that's
AI
lit.
models. If you turn
That's
it on
hard
during
as
a phone
fuck.
call, you can hear a person
Shit.
speak in their own language, and then it gets translated and read in your language. And then if you want to speak back, it gets translated again and read back in another voice to that person. It's a little laggy, but it gets the job done. There's also a little bit more stuff in Maps.
I like
and
shit
in
like
Apple
that.
Music,
And it's
in
only
the
gonna get
Games
better.
app. I plan on breaking all of this down in
It's
a
only gonna
dedicated
advance.
Best New Features of iOS video. Definitely get subscribed if you want to see that right when it comes out. I always do this when the public beta rolls around, so that's coming soon. But my main concern from seeing Apple's demo videos and playing with it a little bit myself is readability. This glass aesthetic, it looks cool sometimes, but it also is a little hard to read sometimes. Like, I get that the clear and glassy sheen is very modern and it looks like Vision OS and it's fresh, but also there's a reason that we add backgrounds to things in the video world a lot, even if it's subtle, because it's to provide more contrast to make things easier to see, just basic stuff. And there were so many bits of text, like notifications or menus or even UI elements, that just looked kind of harder to read. Now, the OS is supposed to adapt to it by giving light things dark backgrounds and dark things light backgrounds, but sometimes you'll have like a half light, half dark background, and that's where things get weird. So I'm curious how this is going to play out. Now, some of the other smaller updates, watchOS 26 also got
that's crazy.
And it's noticeable. There's
shit. No, that translating shit was a big upgrade. Big upgrade. I really like that shit.